Very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Friday morning. I hope you've had a reasonably good week and you're looking forward to your weekend. Before I start on what I'm going to discuss today, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button. Please do become a subscriber of the channel. Very easy to do so. It doesn't cost you anything to do so. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can set one up pretty easily with your email address. You don't have to put any content up on YouTube. Just use that account to become a subscriber. My apologies to those who've heard that several times before. Now, what are we going to discuss today? Well, there's an awful lot of concern or anxiety amongst West Ham fans at the moment because of the some of the speculation that's going on with transfers, and one of those is about our interest or apparent interest in Wes Foderingham, who was the Sheffield United keeper until the end of the season when he was released after Sheffield United were relegated. Now, people sort of asking why are we going for for a player of that level when we've got so many good young players coming through, so many good young goalies, or we should be aiming higher, etc. But I'm going to try and explain the logic that I can see in why Foderingham might be a target for West Ham. Now, look. If there's anyone at West Ham United now that can spot a good goalie, it's got to be our new head coach, Lopetegui, who, of course, his playing career, was that of a goalie. He had a modest career. He made about 149 La Liga appearances over 9 seasons. Amongst the teams he played for, he played once for Real Madrid. He played around 10 times for Barcelona. But it was clubs like Rayo Vallecano and CD Logroñés, which went out of business back in 2009, where Lopetegui made the majority of his appearances. He played in La Liga as well as the second tier of the Spanish leagues. He also won one international cap when he was part of the Spanish 1994 World Cup squad. He finished his playing career, but he didn't become a goalie coach. He actually went in he was a scout for a while, and then he became assistant coach and then head coach of several Spanish clubs. But he's been known to enjoy taking part in goalkeeping training at the various clubs that he's coached at. And it might come as no surprise if he does the same at West Ham. Now, I've no doubt over the past few months, Lopetegui would have been provided with details, primarily from maybe Spanish goalkeeping coach Xavi Valero at West Ham, as well as the academy coaches, about the players, the goalies that we have at our disposal at West Ham. Now, I'm sure you all know, but let me go through them. In the senior squad, of course, we've got Areola, Fabianski, Joseph Anang, and Nathan Trott, who's been out on loan for the past couple of seasons, but he would be considered a senior squad goalkeeper. In the under 21s, we've got Mason Terry, Christian Heggie, and Jacob Knightbridge. Now, these goalies, at some part throughout the last season, they've all been out on loan sporadically. Heggie spent 6 months at Den Bosch, the Dutch club, and Knightbridge and Terry had been on loan at non-league clubs throughout the season. And then in the under 18s, we've got Herrick and Abraham. I'm looking for their first names because I can't see them straight away. Finley Herrick and Dondre Abraham. So given that we've got such a plethora of goalkeepers at West Ham United, why are we even expressing an interest in Wes Foderingham in this transfer window? Look, he's 33 years of age. As I've already said, he's the former Sheffield United keeper who got released from his contract at the end of the season when the club went down. But why not, instead of going for someone at that age, at that caliber, why not just promote one of the academy goalkeepers, or keep Joseph Anang, who's been our third choice keeper for the past couple of seasons? We could, of course, if we don't want to keep a Nam, we could, of course, promote Nathan Trott or the highly rated Christian Heggie to become our third choice. Well, let's look briefly at each goalie, then come back to why West Ham could be considering going for Foderingham. Of course, our number one at the moment is, without doubt, Alphonse Areola. In the 23-24 season, he made 31 appearances in total. He had to save, or he had 188 shots at goal. That's an average of 6 shots per game. His save percentage rate is an impressive 74.5%. And of course, he saved 2 penalties throughout the season as well. Now, our current third choice keeper, Joseph Anang, he's had a bit of an up and down sort of time. He had an unfortunate loan spell when he went to Derby, but no sooner did he join than he broke his wrist, which meant that I don't think he even played a senior game for Derby in that time. But he came back to West Ham after recovering. He became our third choice keeper for the past couple of seasons. Now, after spending a decent loan spell at Dutch club Den Bosch, Christian Heggie, who turns 22 in September, his contract expires at the end of next season, and there's a lot of talk about Heggie and the caliber, the level that he's at. It's considered that he'll probably be sent out on loan again in the coming season to continue developing his career. And he's a Hungarian under-21 international who's also been called up for the senior national team, but he's not yet got his senior debut. But I think that shows the caliber or the level that everyone thinks he's at. He's highly regarded. But it's the next 2 keepers for me that might give us a clue as to why Foderingham could be coming to West Ham United. And the first, of course, is Fabianski, Lucas Fabianski. He's been given yet another year on his contract. He will be 40 by the time that contract comes to an end. He turns 40 in April next year. He will be with us as the second choice keeper in the 24-25 season. But clearly, not clearly, but I doubt very much that he will be given another contract beyond the one that's just been extended for him. So that will create a void that needs to be filled, a second choice keeper that needs to be filled. Now, that void might be filled by Nathan Trott. Now, it's understood that West Ham United have triggered a 2-year extension on his contract for Trott. He'll be 26 years old later this season. And West Ham United, after he's had 2 very successful loan spells at Danish club Vejle BK, West Ham United are considering trying to find him a loan spell at a championship club where he hopefully will become their first choice keeper. Now, if that happens, Trott will get invaluable experience at a championship championship level, and then quite possibly when Fabianski leaves at the end of next season, if Trott does well, he could be brought in to become our second choice keeper. Now, given that the fact that Fabianski's coming to the end of his contract, given that Nathan Trott, who's been given that extended contract, may be the goalie that we consider to become the next player through the academy, next goalkeeper through the academy, it starts to make a bit more sense why Foderingham might become our third choice in the season to come. It will afford Trott that opportunity to go out on loan and get that experience. My understanding is that Joseph Anang won't be offered an extended contract. His contract ends at the end of June, and so he will be leaving. So we need to fill that third place, that third goalkeeping slot. Now we could, like I say, bring in one of the academy players, and it will be a bit of a gamble, bit of a risk, or give it to someone like Foderingham who's got the experience, who's third choice. If we ever have that risk of losing both Areola and Fabianski to injury or suspension, then at least you've got someone with relative experience to step into the breach if need be. Now, the last thing we want is to put in an inexperienced keeper between the sticks, especially in the Premier League in this day and age. And I wonder if you can remember Stephen Bywater's baptism of fire, his debut against Bradford in back in 2000, where the poor lad came on 2 minutes after injury to our keeper at the time, and he came on uh, 2 minutes in after Shaka Hislop broke his leg actually, and he conceded in his senior debut 4 goals. Now, look, that game against Bradford was quite mad. We ended up winning it 5-4, but it was the maddest of games to introduce a very young keeper into the fold. Um, Look, okay, many fans will point at Foderingham's record last season. He made 30 appearances in total, conceded 79 goals. There were 204 shots on Sheffield United's goal, an average of 7 per game. But his save rate was 64%. Now, you would argue that that doesn't bode well for a keeper at his level. But you've got to say 204 shots does suggest that his defence was not much better. So he didn't have that level of safety in front of him with his defenders, and he had an awful lot of work to do. A bit like Areola. Areola, 188 shots on target. Our defence was pretty woeful as well. I think we were the worst outside the bottom 3 or the bottom 4 throughout the season last season. So in all, look, it kind of makes sense. Foderingham has got experience. Foderingham, he comes as a free, so there's no transfer fee to pay. He's on. Probably wasn't on very high wages at Sheffield United, around about 20 grand a week, maybe something like that. So he kind of is a kind of low risk, sort of in terms of financially, player to bring in. All in all, it might not be such a bad idea after all. It will give us an experienced third choice keeper. Nathan Trott, as I've said, can then go out for a season long loan in the Championship to further develop his career. He will come on a free transfer, relatively low wages, and he also will add to the homegrown tally that we need in the squad in order to get as many players. I mean, we know Lopetegui wants to have a 25-man squad. Whether we achieve that or not, I don't know. But if someone like Foderingham comes in, he adds to the homegrown tally in order to help us achieve the 25-man squad that Lopetegui needs. So maybe it might not be such a bad thing after all, if it's to be to help develop a player like a goalkeeper like Nathan Trott to then take on the mantle if he as either second choice or at worst case scenario third choice at West Ham the season after next. Now, of course, there is the alternative. Giving Nathan Trott his extended 2-year deal could mean that if he doesn't succeed at the end of next season in the Championship, then we will have a year still left on his contract and we can sell him for a small fee. That's possible as well. But I think it gives us that opportunity to be able to tinker with our goalkeeping situation and have reasonable cover whilst our goalkeepers in the academy or someone like Nathan Trott continues to develop his career. Let's see how it all turns out. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this particular rumor turns out to be fact rather than maybe a bit of fiction. We've heard the whole thing about Fabrizio Bruno. Apparently, that deal is now maybe in jeopardy. I've been told that there's still negotiations going on, but that's why I sort of I hesitate about doing transfer shows at times, because you can build up the excitement and then before you know it, it all filters to nothing. Anyway, do look out for more shows coming up. Do hit the like button. Do become a subscriber, and I will see you again very soon.